Hello, high-tier players. So a quick explanation for the long break. I promise I won't spend long on this and then we'll get right into the video, which will be a roundup of what I've been playing over the last month or so, along with many of you, as well as what everyone is looking forward to for June. Now, many of you may have noticed that I had not posted a new video for a while. This was due to a catastrophic series of events that resulted in me being completely locked out of my YouTube account and virtually all of my other important accounts for the last week of April, all the way through the first half of May. I won't bore you with all the details, but I ended up having to get a brand new phone, computer monitor, and laptop because all of them stopped working quite permanently within a few days of each other. After getting everything back up and running though, I had missed massive timing opportunities for everything released after about April 21st or so, and wasn't sure if I should go back and make videos on them anyways and just not care about probably the low view count, or just do one big summary video, and I clearly have gone with the latter option. I also will probably do a video with a potential face reveal next because I need to address the channel direction given the new generative AI models and how most are shunning anything that could be accused of being AI. Right now, I have a faceless format, which is one of the simpler ones and thus is at risk of being emulatable by these current generative models. I want people to be assured that I am a real person, and I will do my best to prove that, as well as outline the future goals of this channel right now in the next video. But for now, let's go through the roundup and get a good glimpse of the near future for us gamers looking for some fun. So right after my troubles with tech began, gaming of course started popping off in a big way with the simultaneous releases of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered and Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Both of these were well received by the player base and deserved to be. Even though it was just a remaster of an old game, for example, Oblivion was really the one that paved the way for the world-conquering title that was Skyrim, ramping up old existing systems introduced in Morrowind and expanding on nearly every storyline imaginable, which gave players a sense of freedom to choose their path to a degree the franchise had never achieved before. I had a lot of fun reliving old strategies from back in my college days, as the game has remained in a mostly intact state as the original 2006 version, allowing us unk gamers to drown ourselves in sweet nostalgia when Bethesda still knew how to make games. Now, Clair Obscur was a real treat, a true new height for the RPG genre as a whole. Legend of the Dragoon on player turns, Dark Souls combat mechanics for computer turns. This simple melding of two very successful combat systems made for an innovative evolution to turn-based RPGs, the likes of which every AAA developer in existence has utterly failed to do since the last millennium. The French developer has earned its place in history as one of the greatest ever, and have developed what I'm going to dub the Art PG. It's quintessentially and unapologetically French, and I hope they stick to that for future projects. They have earned player trust with this legendary title, and we anxiously await news on what they will create next. After that, the second Wildgate test kicked off. This version updated a bit from the first playtest and featured some things we had asked for, like locked doors, more differences and unique traits for ships, and a longer kill time for the PvP gunplay. Although some of it still needs tweaking, honestly, they addressed most of our major concerns, and I have faith that they will continue to take our suggestions to heart. Even with these first few imperfect changes, the gameplay was noticeably smoother and offered more strategic depth than before. It still has a lot of work to go, in my opinion, but it's heading in the right direction, and I look forward to seeing what changes in the next test. Next, the Elderwood update released for Palia, and it was enough to make me hop back in after not logging in much at all since back in 2023. A lot of fun activities were added in the update, and as I caught up from the temple updates, I noticed the game felt really different than at launch. It feels much more like a proper game now instead of a glorified demo like I thought it did originally. That being said, it still has a long way to go. I honestly expected 2 or even 3 such updates the size of Elderwood, having been out already since it's coming up on 2 years being out as a game. There's still no new higher tiers of crops, tools, and while Elderwood adds a decent grind that could count as endgame right now, a lot more is needed before I'll want to play this more. The gameplay loop is still just practically non-existent outside of the Elderwood essence farming, and there's nothing to really keep gamers engaged for long periods of time, despite the game clearly wanting to run like an MMO does, given its direction so far. Finally, we got an emergency message from Central Command as Super Earth was invaded by the Illuminate. I had hung up my helmet and cape after the PlayStation account fiasco for what I thought was for good, but this just looked too good. I had to don my patriotic apparel again to defend managed democracy. While still lacking in some areas, generally, I think Helldivers 2 is at least temporarily back. Whether it stays in this good direction is up to the developers not burning us with nerfs to fun or anything again, and we'll be in good shape. I would still like a lot more in terms of upgrades to the ship and unlockable things to grind for in weapons and eventually in the rest of our equipment, which is one of the things I really think they need to add. However, for now, this is enough to bring me back to the fold, and I will be fighting for Super Earth until the next big release hits. So, now we get into the future. What's next? Well, I think everyone already knows the next two big things on the horizon. That would be Chrono Odyssey and Dune Awakening. Chrono Odyssey is the next big Korean MMO. If you're not familiar with the stereotypes we can expect from Korean MMOs, we need to carefully watch how pay-to-win it is because they are historically awful in that department. We can expect graphical fidelity out the butt, and also your CPU and GPU performance and possibly some smoke while they cook out the butt as well. Based on the history of Korean MMOs, and I've played almost every single major title since MapleStory over 20 years ago, I expect this to be fun for a couple of weeks, and then it will be forgettable like all the others, and we'll move on. The reason for this is all Korean MMOs, at least so far, have terrible, horrible endgame designs that aren't based on merit or skill, but pure dumb luck through things like their gear upgrading systems. If this is yet another cookie-cutter Korean MMO in terms of design, it won't do any better than Lost Ark or Black Desert internationally. Neither of these examples come even close to being a decent MMO success, despite having some dedicated regulars still around. They're utterly annihilated by even MMOs from the 90s and right after the turn of the millennium in terms of gameplay, endgame design, and just sheer player base size. The playtest starts next week, so we should be able to get a good glimpse of what the game actually plays like, and this will pretty much seal its fate as a good or bad game. I've been signed up for this one since signups opened, so hopefully I can get in and show you all some streams and videos of this experience. Thankfully, the next title might just be the one that provides that escape if Chrono Odyssey ends up being overly monetized or plays badly. Dune Awakening is another one that's been on my radar ever since I played the test a few weeks ago. Although I found the lack of enemies, especially the variety, a little disturbing, and the gameplay loop was kind of monotonous, we also didn't get to explore or see much of the whole game itself. So I'm reserving judgment on this one until the full release so I can explore the whole world and its systems up through endgame, which every high tier player knows is the only part that really matters in MMOs, as that is what keeps you playing in the long term. Maybe once we get out into the entire world, there really is a lot more unique and interesting places to explore and a variety of enemies to fight. Far more so than what we saw in the demo area. Right now, we just don't know yet, so you won't want to miss my video on that when it comes out on June 5th. There are a lot of other releases I'm looking forward to covering on this channel as well, as just playing some for fun. But a lot of them still don't have a solid release date just yet, so right now it's just these two that I have my sights set on. I will obviously add any new interesting titles that come our way. So, until next time, stay on that high tier, players. The view from up here is always worth it.